Hello, welcome. We're going to take a look at an impressive diorama, to say the least. This is creating the ultimate Warcraft 3 diorama. Models, battles, and magic using 3D printing. So, strap in.
Remember the time Warcraft 3 was actually good before Reforged showed us how to ruin a perfect experience?
True.
Well, join me on this mini quest and let's build something actually worthy. It's legend. Back
So he's using the tools
on this mini quest and let's build something
to create
actually
this
worthy.
masterpiece. So some of this is familiar to me because I did some creation as well myself, inspired by seeing these 3D dioramas. So quick little break just for a moment. Pracky a couple of years ago got me this, which is a Warcraft 3 3D diorama, which he bought online. So you can get the idea that it's a 3D perspective, but it's actually just 2D. But it gives this really cool vibe. And ever since he got me that, I really got into it myself. So I recognize some of the tools that are being shown here because I created one of these myself for Pracky, which I'll show off later in the video because we'll do a bit more of the video. We're only 19 seconds in, but yeah, it's really cool. I like it.
Legend. Back then, we started the campaign with the humans, and we will do the same thing.
Recognize this level.
You got some great looking castles and shit. Can I borrow some of these?
Yes, my lord.
I like that one. This and that.
No, you can't do that. It belongs to Blizzard. They're going to sue him.
Exactly what I'm looking for.
All right.
First thing to do, search for some 3D models to print. Sadly, some of the good models were missing, and another bunch wasn't optimized for printing. There was definitely a huge choice of characters with a lot of details and for tabletop gaming, but to be honest, not what I was looking for.
Yeah. With Warcraft and Warcraft 3, there's such a blend. If you look up things for Warcraft 3, you'll often get things for World of Warcraft. And there's always that issue of trying to find something for Warcraft 3. Have you ever spoken to someone like, oh, what do you play or something like that? And it's like, oh, Warcraft 3. Even if you say Warcraft 3, like with the 3 at the end, they still say, oh, World of Warcraft. It's very difficult to find specific Warcraft 3 stuff.
Well, I'm gonna go build my own theme park with
Fusion 360 and a degree that finally pays off. So what do mechanical engineers do? Basically, we draw a 2D sketch and then we add stuff, and then we draw a 2D sketch again and we take stuff away. Yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know.
All right.
And
There
why
you
don't
go.
you use Blender like literally everyone else does? Because I'm too dumb. Misha, get your fluffy ass up. We got work to do.
Now this is impressive, showing off the level of detail. Like, so he couldn't find all of the 3D prints? Did he get some of them? Or did he create all of them himself? Because it looks like he's creating all of them himself at this point, which is intense. It's the geometry. You have to get all the geometric shapes, which Warcraft 3 certainly has really good geometric shapes because it was done by Samwise Didio, who did the artwork, and that's why so many of the units look so fantastic. All the silhouettes, everything just pops. You know exactly what you're looking at. So he's done a really good job imitating this. I was joking about Blizzard suing. They wouldn't do that. Look at that. All of the details on the castles and the barracks. What was this bit? Creating models for 40 hours so you can watch a 1-minute clip. Yeah, that seems familiar. I've done videos like that where I've had to spend over 60 plus hours on them, and it's just for like a tiny section, like a 5-second gag or something like that can take like 2 to 3 hours sometimes. That one's really cool. See, I know this because I use a War 3 viewer, Warcraft 3 viewer, to look at the models like this, which I sometimes use for the thumbnails. But doing any of this other stuff is beyond me. There we go. It's finally loaded. So I can pull up, say for example here, you can pull up buildings and then human. It doesn't have everything though. So in the same similar case, you don't necessarily get access to everything. So sometimes you have to sort of wing it or remove certain pieces to sort of make everything work. That's like a human farm. So as you can see, he's got that on the left-hand side. And then he's got to create his own design to essentially mimic it as close as possible. There you go.
All the buildings
Patreon.
are now ready to assemble, and let me tell you how it feels to be able to create your own models. Freaking good.
Yes.
Now, how do we get this beautiful forest landscape? Sorry. I mean, how can we bring this Warcraft landscape to life? First, you need some very hard piece of wood. Okay, I can't stop it. Then we add a chunky piece of XPS foam on top and unload some thick lines of PVA glue.
This is going to be giving me vibes of like Warhammer. I remember as a kid going to like the Games Workshop and they had these pamphlets and there was all these sort of 3D dioramas. Even way back then, that's when I sort of really got curious about it, is people were able to create terrains, like fake terrains, like imitating that world, the grass, the stone, the buildings, the ruins, obviously the units, the models inside of it as well. A mate used to do this as well, actually. He used to get like styrofoam or something like that, and you'd have to chop it up and cut it into pieces, and then you'd spray paint it, and that could be like mountains and things like that.
After some drying time, I used my Proxon hotwire to cut the XPS in shape, and then I placed all the buildings on top and marked their positions. I used a cheap knife to cut some rock formations into
There you go,
the
rock
base.
formations.
This will help to get some shape and variety into the landscape.
Surprise, mother.
I forgot the battery. Let me fix that real quick.
Well, he definitely looks like he knows what he's doing. Look at that workshop. See, this is why it's a lot harder to do this at home. You look at these videos and you think, oh man, that's so
There you
cool.
go,
I
big
wish I
boy.
could do
Now
that.
it's time to get lit.
It took me a lot of effort to do one that I did, and I'll show that later. Not like a 3D diorama like this, but more like the one that I showed here, this one. And he's an
I have
engineer.
actually
Yes, that
no
helps.
idea if that will be bright enough at the end, but it looks pretty cool right now.
I didn't know he did
Then I
lighting
used
too.
some modeling clay to form some hills. But guess what's still missing? Trees. A lot of trees.
Rip them all down.
I have a bad feeling about this. I found some great looking trees from Sculptania on my mini factory, and to cut some time, I primed all the models in different
They
colors.
look close enough, I would say. Those
Now I have
trees.
to
They're
paint
good enough.
26
They're a bit more of a
trees.
reforged kind of look, but I think they work. I think they're more like Heroes of the Stormish, so that passes a bit better. Still got a cartoony look to it.
I used some simple dry brushing for that, just adding brighter layers of color with less force, and some shading at the end. Luckily, my ex-girlfriend and now wife helped me out and also painted her first miniatures. Now that's a little forest. Because I wasn't able to sculpt something simple as a rock, I decided to create one with some XPS foam and added some
This is the gold mine,
stones
is it?
to represent some gold. 24 hours later, the modeling clay has dried and I'm able to proceed by dipping that whole thing in PVA glue and add a variety of basing materials like stones, sand and the tree stumps. Now let me paint that thing real quick.
So that gives it the texture and the grit. Nice. Start off with dirt, I suppose, yeah. Oh.
While we're waiting for the paint to dry,
That one was
how
for
about you
Asmongold.
tell me in the comments which base you would like to see me build next? In the next step, I took a close look at the amazing in-game graphics and you can clearly see two different grass types. We will replicate that with yet another thick layer of PVA glue and a static grass applicator I built following the wonderful instructions of Luke Town. First, I added
Oh,
some
that looks
green
cool.
grass,
I like that
then I
grass.
proceeded with another layer of glue and some brighter grass. No wonder my wife is tired all the time. This is exhausting. Time to arrange all our trees. We are
Oh,
getting
wow.
pretty close.
That really starts to pop off now. Like, the world just looks like it's actually really, like, lived in as soon as you do that.
To a finished base now. Only a few things are missing. First, I saw
Oh, that machine is terrifying.
for that whole thing and primed it black. Then I started to add some more flowers and other tufts to increase the variety. As a last extra thing, I ordered a
Foliage.
lasered metal plate. Finally, we can paint all the buildings in the classic blue color scheme we are so familiar with. Most of the time, I will use a technique called dry brushing. Like with the trees before, a simple base coat followed by a
my
heavy
God.
wash and
Because, yeah, it's one thing to sort of do all the texture in design, like all the little ingrained lines and such, and print it out and have it come out exactly how you want it. But then he's painting it as well to make it actually look like the real deal. Like it's going to be
a couple of layers of dry brushing. I made an in-depth tutorial.
definitely
if you want to learn
easier
more
than it
about that.
looks. No,
The
harder.
walls,
I don't know.
stones,
What's
and
the
even
expression?
roofs are all painted the same way. Now that you know the basics, let me
Bloody
paint
hard,
the rest
basically.
real quick.
Makes it look easy. Yeah, that's looking really good. There's the human altar. Gold. Barracks.
I still have one more surprise for you.
That's more like the Heroes of the Storm move for that one. Because I don't think you can get the Warcraft 3 one exactly. But it actually fits
Time to
really
put
well
buildings
anyway.
down by professional.
As we saw in like a previous video that I went over a while ago, like the Heroes of the Storm assets can actually look really good in Warcraft 3.
Of course.
Yes, me lord.
Oh, that's
What is
clever.
it? More work? What? Righto. Off I go then.
Here you go,
Doing things like that, you'd almost think this guy was a little bit creative, wouldn't you?
Uther. And now we can enjoy the glamour shots. Shout out to my new Patreons Gonzalo Sabezas and Matt, and thanks to all of you for your support.
That just
So I
looks
worked
sick.
3 months on this thing, 4 weeks of typing
Bye.
and printing, build a
I think you can sort of probably get access to like the models and such to print through the Patreon, because I did join some other guy's Patreon for creating something, which I'll go over in a moment. I don't think he'd necessarily sell these. If he does, he would probably have to charge quite a lot, I would think, because as you can see, it's 3 months of work. It's a lot of time to get it that sort of crafted.
landscape and painted 47
looks
models
amazing.
in 3 days for you to watch a 10-minute video. And before I knew what was happening to me, I myself became a peasant.
More work?
And you know what? I f***ing do it again.
And he's got some other ones by the looks of it. Really, really good to see that Warcraft 3. It's illegal to sell it. I mean, if you go on Etsy, you can find all sorts of dioramas based on video games like Warcraft 3 or Street Fighter and such that have already been sort of done. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're being sold. I don't think they got the license to sell them, but they're being sold. So I'll just quickly find the one that I did for Pracky, which shouldn't take too long. But I created a 3D diorama within a box, and it was it wasn't impossible, but it was a bit harder than I thought it would be. But I'm just a normal guy, and I still managed to do it. But something like this is way too advanced for me. Like, you'd have to be like a genuinely good 3D craftsman to create all of this stuff. It just looks gorgeous, that does. But this is a quick shorts video I did. You may not have caught it, but this is what I created for Pracky. Because, like I say, I was so inspired by this, and I intended to make more, but I haven't got around to doing it. Let's see if I can close the curtain to stop the... You can't quite see it because the reflection. There you go. But it's essentially the human base, peasants and all that. So those are the abilities, the items. There's Prakarov at the back versus, well, Tough Nut and myself. I was the Demon Hunter, Tough Nut was the Orc Blade Master. Got a volcano in the back there. I don't think you can full screen shorts really. But I've got the different platforms as well. That was quite hard because this is my first one I made. So some of these are just one flat base, but I ended up creating like a sort of a mini mountain because it's essentially based off of that. In the URL, replace shorts by video. Let's find out, shall we? Oh, there you go. I didn't know that. That's clever. It's as much as we can zoom in. Unfortunately, my it's a bit blurry. This was very late at night. I stayed up all night working on this. So when I got it done, I just kind of wanted to do a fairly quick recording and just be... just go to bed after that. There you go. That's like the build up towards it. So you got the back template. You've got the lava. You've got the lava coming out of the mountain here with a little volcano there. Then you got the template of the base of the platform that they're standing on. Then you've got the Demon Hunter and Blade Master going up against the giant Pit Lord with skulls in the background. And there's a zombie villager here who's dead. There's some just rock formation doodads. And there's some pillars with flames. So you can see it a little bit clearer there. Just a little bit. See the little villager there, propped up, skulls in the background. These two going up against Pracky. There you go. Impressive. So yeah, if you like this video, then I'll put a link in the video description and all that. And you can get the models themselves from the Patreon, which you can find here. Video game dioramas. But I don't think you can necessarily buy them, but you can get access to like essentially the templates and such that he probably uses, because I did something similar where I joined someone's Patreon to get some templates to get an idea on how to approach doing this in the first place. So it gave me a bit of a perspective on the thought process going into it.